You believe you have a goal. You want to write a book, build the research model, master the discipline, or transform your physical state. Yet, if I examine your last 14 hours, I will not find a person pursuing that goal. I will find a node in a network constantly reacting to micro stimuli. We live in an era engineered for friction-free consumption. Every screen, notification, bill alert, and social ping is designed to hijack your mesolimbic dopamine pathway. But here is the uncomfortable truth that most behavioral self-help refuses to state. The most ruthless distractor in your life is not your smartphone, your family, or your inbox. It is yourself. We engage in what behavioral psychology terms dopamine maxing, a continuous low-grade saturation of a neurological reward system. When you check your phone while waiting in line, when you flip between tabs while analyzing data, when you soothe ambient existential anxiety with mindless scrolling, you are not relaxing. You're resetting your baseline dopamine threshold higher and higher. The neurological consequence is devastating. High effort, long horizon achievements become physiologically unrewarding. You feel an intolerable itch when faced with 10 minutes of silence. You confuse hyperreactivity with efficacy. You believe you are seeking something great, but your energy is dissipated across 50 trivial channels. If you wish to achieve anything of permanent value, you must first recognize that an unregulated mind will always choose cheap comfort over meaningful triumph. To understand why you cannot stay on the path until you reach your goal, we must look at the language we use. The word attention originates from the Latin ad tendere, meaning to stretch forward. It implies an intentional tension, a physical stretching of the consciousness towards a single object. Conversely, distraction comes from distrahere, literally to be dragged apart. When you allow yourself to be distracted, you are permitting your psyche to be pulled in opposing directions until its structural integrity collapses. And the word focus originally meant hearth, the central fire of a home where all warmth was concentrated. Without a hearth, fire spreads widely and burns the house down. With a hearth, it cooks food and sustains life. In modern psychology, we study the phenomenon of attention residue formalized by Dr. Sophie Leroy. When you switch your focus from a primary deep project to check a quick message or answer a quick email, your attention does not cleanly transition. A significant portion of your cognitive bandwidth remains stuck on the previous task. When you spend your day multitasking, juggling phone calls, leisure, family requests, news updates, and work, you operate in a state of permanent cognitive fragmentation. You're trying to build a cathedral with a mind that is constantly being dragged apart. Why do we find it so difficult to sit quietly and pursue a single objective until it is achieved? The answer lies in the neuroscience of dopamine and the principle of reward prediction error pioneered by Dr. Wolfram Schultz. Popular culture mischaracterizes dopamine as the molecule of pleasure. It is not. Dopamine is the molecule of anticipation, drive, and movement towards the goal. It is the neurochemical fuel of search. When your baseline dopamine is healthy, working on a challenging problem for hours creates a sustained, quiet state of flow. However, when you engage in mindless hedonism, checking notifications, seeking instant gratification, constantly consuming low effort entertainment, you trigger sharp phasic spikes of dopamine. Your brain responds to these artificial spikes by downregulating its dopamine receptors and lowering your tonic baseline. The result? The baseline effort required for real achievement now feels intolerably painful, boring, and dry. You feel an irresistible urge to quit, to check your phone, to do an errand, to eat, to chat, but you convince yourself that you need balance or that now is not the right time. But neuroscience shows that this is an illusion created by a desensitized dopamine system. When you do fewer things with absolute deliberation, your baseline dopamine stabilizes itself becomes rewarding. Efficacy increases not because you worked harder, but because you stopped wasting your neurochemical capital on meaningless distractions. If we turn from neuroscience to the history of human consciousness, we find that every master reached the pinnacle not through additive effort but through absolute, uncompromising subtraction. Consider Swami Vivekananda's timeless imperative. Take up one idea, make that idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscle, nerves, and every part of your body be full of that idea. And just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success. Notice that Vivekanand is demanding. He's not asking you to manage your time better or add another habit to your morning routine. He's demanding the total annihilation of secondary desires. He is stating that greatness requires a single pointed laser focus, a mental state where all other ideas are intentionally abandoned. Also, look at the historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. After years of wandering, searching, trying different ascetic paths, and engaging in fragmented practices, he realized that partial effort yields partial liberation. He walked to the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, sat down, and made what in Pali is known as adittan, an uncompromising vow. Iha sane sasyatu me sariram. Iha sane sasuyatu me sariram. Let my skin, sinews, and bones dry up. Let my flesh and blood wither away. But I will not rise from this seat until I have attained full realization. He did not set a timer. He did not check if he had errands to run or people to meet. He eliminated the option of stopping. When you make a decision where quitting is removed from the cognitive space, the mind stops looking for exits and channels 100% of its latent power into solving the problem in front of you. We live under a cultural delusion that doing more things simultaneously leads to greater output. In organizational psychology and economics, we know this to be demonstrably false. Imagine a circle presenting your total life energy. If you draw 20 small arrows pointing outwards in every direction, you move 1 millimeter in 20 different directions. You feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and anxious. Yet at the end of the year, you have moved nowhere. You are in the exact same place, just older and more tired. You now imagine drawing a line, a single arrow pointing in one direction, 20 units long. You cover immense ground. You break through barriers that previously seemed impassable. Doing fewer things more deliberately is not about laziness, it's about mathematical leverage. When you reduce the number of projects, commitments, and inputs in your daily life, the quality of your attention increases exponentially. You notice subtleties other people miss. You make connections that fragmented minds cannot perceive. You work shifts from mediocre compliance to masterful execution. Furthermore, empirical studies on quality of life consistently show that subjective well-being does not correlate with numbers of experiences or achievements you hoard. It correlates with the depth of presence you bring to what you are doing right now. When you seek one thing and refuse to stop until you achieve it, you restore peace to your consciousness. To transition from understanding these principles to living them, you require a systematic behavioral protocol. Here is the Sovereignty Protocol, a 3-step framework designed to rebuild your capacity for unbroken focus. Step 1. The dopamine fast and input reduction. Before you can focus on a high-value objective, you must clean your neurochemical slate. For the next 7 days, eliminate all frictionless, low-value inputs. No phone scrolling during transitions, no background noise when eating or driving, no multitabbing. Force your brain to experience boredom again. When you lower your dopamine baseline, deep work stops feeling like an unbearable chore and becomes engaging once more. Step 2. The vow of single tasking. Before you begin any significant pursuit, sit down and explicitly state your objective. Define the exact boundary of what you are doing and, more importantly, what you are not doing. Adopt the Buddha's principle of adittan. Tell yourself, I am sitting in this chair to complete this chapter, this analysis, or this strategic model, and I will not stand up, check a message, or switch tasks until this is done. Eliminate the exit options before you even start. Step 3. The rule of unbroken continuation. When you are seeking something worthwhile, you will hit a wall of friction. Your mind will generate excuses. You need a snack. You should check an email. You're not feeling inspired today. Recognize this as the ego's defense mechanism against effort. Do not evaluate your progress or negotiate with yourself in the middle of execution. Follow the spirit of Swami Vivekananda. Fix your mind upon the goal and do not stop until you have achieved it. You do not need more time. You do not need more apps. You need the courage to abandon everything that does not serve your highest aim. If you found this breakdown valuable, open a clean page in your journal right now. Write down the one goal you are seeking and list every secondary distraction you are committing to abandon today. If you found this breakdown valuable, open a clean page in your journal right now. Write down that one goal you are seeking and list every secondary distraction you are committing to abandon today. Every week, I provide academic reading lists, private essays, and deeper philosophical frameworks to help you restructure your cognition. Remember, when you are seeking something, do not stop. I will see you in the next one.